Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to Gutha Mandala for achieving SAT score 1570, Farah Khalil 1540, Kunal Varma 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premier SAT and ACT program. Pay now. Start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ వారి గోల్డ్ ప్రామిస్ తో కురుస్తోంది బంగారు నాణాల వర్షం. గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్ ఆభరణాలు కొనుగోలు చేసి బంగారు నాణాలని ఉచితంగా తప్పకుండా పొందండి. త్వరపడండి, మీ దగ్గరలోని స్టోర్ కి వెళ్లి ప్రత్యేకమైన జ్యువెలరీ కలెక్షన్ ని ప్రత్యేకమైన ధరల్లో పొందండి. కేవలం మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ తో మాత్రమే.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్.
Hire international teachers who are well trained in U.S. curriculum for just $20 an hour. Or for 2 students group, $15 an hour. We teach math, science, and English for elementary, middle, and high school. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
PSAT. Do you have a middle school child? Are you aiming for top Ivy League colleges? Do you know how strong they are in academics? We have an innovative PSAT program for grades 6 through 9. We will help your child thrive in academics and get them to the top 1% of the nation. It's never too early to start. Join our prestigious PSAT program. For more information, contact us, info@testpreppundits.com or 844-383-7844.
Summer is the best time to boost your scores. Test Prep Pundits present Self-Prep SAT ACT course for just $199. Stellar digital curriculum expert videos for every question. 15 full-length tests. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
ఆకర్షణీయమైన చీరలు, అబ్బురపరిచే ధరలు. అందరికీ నచ్చిన, అందరూ మెచ్చిన షో మన లక్కీ మహిళ. బోలెడంత ఎక్సైట్మెంట్, వండర్ఫుల్ విన్నింగ్ మూమెంట్స్.
ఎగ్జాక్ట్ చెప్పారు, మీరే గెలుచుకున్నారండి. కంగ్రాచులేషన్స్.
Hello viewers, a warm good evening. Welcome to the Immigration Attorney Show at Talk Show with the Experts on Tvasiatelugu. We have with us our eminent lawyer, Emily Newman. Emily is a partner in Reddy & Newman law firm based out of Houston, Texas, and has been associated for the past 19 years. Very hearty welcome to the show, Emily.
Thanks so much. Glad to be here.
Thank you so much. And also just wanted a special mention about our title sponsors, Test Prep Pundits. Test Prep Pundits is a home to about top 1%, 10% scores. They're conducting a free SAT and ACT bootcamp on June 11th. For more details, please check their website on testpreppundits.com. And our special mention about our show sponsors, movers.com, your one-stop solution for moving needs. So Emily, before we get into the caller questions and the YouTube questions and all that, can we just get into the topic, a special topic for today? As you know that last year, there were about 70,000 green cards that were wasted. And this year we have about 290K green cards for employment. That is about 150K more than what's normally we have. So how do you think USCIS is going to react to it? What is the wastage going to be for this fiscal year?
Yeah, we have some positive news on that front within the last 2 weeks. USCIS has reiterated that they really are working on prioritizing employment-based green cards, that they don't want to waste them. And they do seem to be picking up the pace. We were very concerned when the data came in for the first quarter of the fiscal year, and they were just approving them at such a slow pace that we were, if they keep that up, we're going to be wasting thousands again. We don't have the actual data from the second quarter yet. We should be getting that in the next few weeks here. But the pace has definitely picked up from what we're seeing in our firm's cases. And last week they had an ombudsman stakeholder engagement where they basically said that if you had filed your case by April 2022, they intended to approve it by September 30th, which that gives us a, April, May, June, July, August, September, about a 6-month processing time, which is quite different than what we've been seeing for most cases. But hopefully that's a good sign. Hopefully they stick to that.
All fingers crossed, looking for this good news to materialize then. So thank you so much for the information. I'm sure we are all waiting for all this good news to roll in here. Emily, let's get into before we admit the caller, and let's take a YouTube question here. So we have a question on YouTube which says, looks like it's from VVM. He seems to be sent letters to the senator, forgot to mention the speeding ticket in I-485 application. Will that cause any issues? Will I get an RFE? Fine was less than $200.
Gotcha. Yeah. So most speeding tickets are not required to be disclosed on the 485 application, particularly where the fine was under $500. So since yours was under $200, I'm assuming it didn't involve any kind of DUI or DWI, driving while intoxicated. No accident was involved, no injuries or anything like that. So your typical speeding ticket, it's not required to disclose it, and generally shouldn't be disclosed because it just adds an extra hurdle that's not really necessary to the application.
Got it. Okay, let's take the caller here. The caller ending with 1210.
Yeah, hi, thank you for taking my call. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay,
yes, sir,
hi, thank you for taking my call. Sorry. So I have a quick question about that the expertise AP, because my H1B got expired, so I want to go for the stamping, but dates are not coming. So I'm just thinking that to take the emergency AP card. So what is the process to get that emergency AP card? I filed in the 2020 and the same way everything, and I got an EAD, but my AP card was denied due to I travel outside of country. So I'm thinking to take.
Okay, have you refiled the AP
card
yet?
Yeah, I filed that, but they did not receive any document. Somehow there is missed. But I was planning to go India back again, so I didn't file again.
Okay, so first thing, you have to file again. File a new I-131 application as soon as possible, because you can't do any kind of emergency AP until you actually file the application first and get the receipt number. Once you have the receipt number, then the way to request the emergency AP is to call the 1-800 customer service number, try to get through to a live person. Usually those officers are not able to take down much information at that time, but you just have to explain you need an emergency advance parole because you have an emergency need to travel. You'll need to be ready to document what the emergency is. Right now, it has to be a life or death kind of situation. So assuming that's the case, then they will likely have you email in those documents to prove the life or death situation. And then once they decide, yes, this does qualify for an emergency situation, then they will schedule you for an InfoPass appointment at your local immigration office. That could take weeks to get that appointment. So just be aware, this is not a fast process. It's probably going to take you 2 months to get an emergency advance parole. I'm sorry?
So how many days they will give that generally?
It's valid for usually 2 years if your priority date is not current. Otherwise, it would be valid for 1 year, but it's probably going to take you about 2 months to get it. going through this process.
Okay. So I have one more question that I'm eligible for the Dropbox, but I got a regular appointment. So it is okay to go with the regular appointment, or I need to stick with the Dropbox rule?
You can do either, whichever one ends up being faster for you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And I did my interfiling and I got a receipt also. So how soon you think that I'll get, because I got my interfiling done in that May month. And how soon I can hear that about that my case that moving in the NBC or somewhere?
Yeah, we're just now starting to see some of those interfile approvals come through. So it is not the fastest process. For those that filed maybe in February, we're starting to see a few now. So it might be a couple of months before they get to it. That being said, just within the last few weeks, we're starting to see more and more interfile cases approved. So hopefully that means they're picking up the pace. There was some lag in getting the document scanned and sent over to the officers electronically. And they seem to have picked up the pace there. So I would guess probably 2 to 4 months. But that's just a guess because we don't know how fast they're going to be able to go for people who submitted it more recently.
If they want to process that, my case need to be moved to NBC Center, right? Then only they agitate.
No, it doesn't have to be.
Because in the NBC.
But we do need to take another caller.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's take the next caller here, Emily. And also just a very humble request to all the callers. Please restrict your questions to not more than 1 or 2. So we have scope for others to also address their questions here and answered here. Let's take the next question. It is from 4935. Caller ending is 4935.
Hey, can you hear me?
We can. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so we filed EB3, EB2 to EB3 in October 2020, just with everyone else. And then I got my EAD, advanced parole, everything approved recently, and I interfiled in February 1st. The case got moved to NBC, and then from there it moved to LA field office. Yeah. So I got the medical articles I replied, and then the case went to case remains pending status. It has been in that status for last 1 month, and I recently checked with Emma on if there are any updates, and the agent said there was an RFE issued on May 21st. But the status still shows case remains pending. So I kept waiting for the RFE, but never received any RFE document. And I requested through the portal that the RFE document is missing, but the reply came back saying that your case is being reviewed. That's it. I have no idea how to get the RFE document. If there was one issued, it's been like 2 weeks.
Right.
So I don't know if it is anything to do with the case remains pending.
Mm-hmm. And you mean it's saying that because there's no visa available, or they're just saying the case review is pending?
Correct. It says visa not available.
Okay. Yeah. We just got an update through the American Immigration. We got an update from the American Immigration Lawyers Association about that issue, because a lot of people who've interfiled and got the receipt notice for the Supplement J are getting this update saying a visa is not available. Well, clearly a visa is available in EB2. That's the whole reason we did the interfile, and USCIS has confirmed that they received the interfile by giving us that receipt notice. But Ayla learned from USCIS that this is normal. It just means that the officer has not actually looked at the interfile case. So it's not going to update to EB2 until the officer actually looks at it and adjudicates that request to interfile. So as of this moment, although you've submitted the interfile and gotten the receipt, they're still considering it in EB3 until the officer actually does something. And then the other issue is there an RFE or isn't there? It sounds like it's still unclear since the online case status never mentioned an RFE and you already had an RFE for the medical. It's possible that that agent was incorrect and that there isn't one. But what I would do is go to the USCIS website and do an e-request. The option that you select is notice not received. So they've issued a notice and you have not received it, and put in a service request for that. It might take 30 days or so before they get back to you, but that should be a way for them to confirm whether there was an RFE or not, and if there was, to remail it to you because it was lost.
So I did that. I did it last week, and I got a reply within 2 days, and it says your case is pending and being reviewed. That's it. It didn't talk anything about the RFE, even though I put a request for missing RFE document.
Possible that there isn't actually an RFE. The other thing you can do is do an ombudsman request online through the DHS 7001 form. If you just Google DHS 7001 and fill in the case details, this is something that the ombudsman normally can help with because you got information saying there was a request and you don't want to miss responding to it, obviously, because that could be detrimental to the case. Correct. So they do tend to take this type of situation seriously and try to expedite them. So that's probably what I would do next. Your other option is to work with your local senator or congressman's office. They can do the same thing to figure out if there was an RFE and get it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I actually called them, USCIS 1-800 number, and multiple times, actually 2 or 3 times, and all I said there is an update saying that an RFE was issued, and it's a request for initial evidence issued on May 21st. But they just keep telling, wait for the document in the mail. That's it.
Yeah, generally, if they issued it May 21st, they expect it to take up to 30 days to get to you. So you might want to wait till June 21st before calling again or doing any of those next steps.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Let's take the next caller. As we admit the next caller, Emily, there's a YouTube question that probably we can get to. It says it's from PK Rancho. My wife's I-94 extended at Mexico border. CBP did not stamp my passport as my H1 is valid up to April 25. H4 RFE primary applicant I-94 is only up to 4/10/22, which is already passed. Previous H1 expiry date. Am I out of status?
Okay, so when you look online on that I-94, they gave you the old end date or the new end date, because that's a little bit unclear. You do have the I-797 approval that has the longer version of I-94 on it, I'm assuming. But the question is, at the time of entry, did they give you the shortened I-94, which sounds like maybe they did. And if that's the case, definitely you need to talk to a lawyer to make sure that you're within the period to be able to possibly travel one more time to cure this issue, and then you'll generate a new I-94 that way. We see this sometimes, especially when you travel by land, using that automatic revalidation instead of traveling by air. I'm not quite sure what your situation was there, but I would definitely talk to a lawyer to make sure that you're not going to have a problem with unlawful presence that could create a bigger problem later. So not enough details really to answer that, but it sounds like there may be a fix for it that's not too difficult, but need more details.
Got it. So I hope
there. But I would definitely make sure that you're not going to have a problem with unlawful presence that could create a bigger problem later.
You could probably hear some lag on YouTube. Please, can you mute and ask your question here? There could be some lag when you hear these questions. This is for caller ending with 7075. Please go ahead with your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, sir, we can hear you. Please go ahead. You probably went back on mute.
Sorry, yeah, I'm back. Okay. So I recently filed a new 485 under EB2. I had done a 485 filing back in October 2020. But I just refiled under EB2 because my case was not moving anywhere. So my first question is, when I did the new refile, my lawyer refused to file a fresh EAD and AP because she told me that since my EB3 485 is still pending and I can continue using my old EAD and AP if I have to switch my employer or if I have to travel outside. So can you shed some light on that? Because I was under the impression that you cannot use your old EAD and AP once you file a new 485.
So we actually have no guidance at all from USCIS on this issue. There's nothing saying that you can use it, and there's nothing saying you can't use it. So I kind of am of the opinion that you are qualified for an EAD and AP anytime that you have any pending 485, and that it's not necessarily always tied to a specific 485. So your EAD and AP remain valid until they expire or USCIS revokes them. And since they haven't revoked them and they haven't expired, they're still valid. You do have the option of filing a second one if you wanted to, and you could do it on your own as well if the attorney is not allowing you to do that through them. But the biggest thing is we don't know exactly how USCIS is going to treat this.
I see. Okay. And my second question is, like you just mentioned in the start of this session, that USCIS has said like they're going to adjudicate everyone who has filed before April 2022. Since I recently filed my new 485 and I think it was received by USCIS on June 1st, do you recommend filing an interfile also? My priority date is September 23rd, 2013.
So an update from that ombudsman stakeholder engagement we just got this past week. This is through the American Immigration Lawyers Association and their liaison efforts with USCIS. USCIS also said that if you filed a standalone 485 even as late as the first week of June 2022, that they intend to get those done by September 30th. So given that you filed it the first week of June, they said that they really expect to be able to get through all of those. So you may not have to interfile. The fact that you did do the second filing, there's nothing saying you can't do both. But kind of the whole purpose of doing both is so that you can keep one foot in the EB3 lane and one foot in the EB2 lane, and whichever one gets through first, great, rather than putting all your eggs in the EB2 basket by doing the interfile plus you've already filed that refile. So I would lean towards not doing anything with the first pending application and hope that the second one as a standalone filed in early June gets approved as USCIS suggested they have the capability of doing.
Yeah, because I also sent all my medicals and 485J along with the new one which I just filed. And just a quick follow-up, should I expect a new biometric for the new petition, or they can use the old biometric?
Yeah, our experience has been generally they reuse the old one, but they usually will send you a notice letting you know that they've reused the old one.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Emily.
Thank you. Let's take
the next because call. I also sent all my medicals and 485J along with the
So this is for the caller 7009. Please go ahead with your question. There could be some lag. This is for everybody in general. There could be some lag when you're hearing on the YouTube question. As you onboard to the call, please ask your question here. Caller ending with 7009. I see you're on mute. Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hey, Sita Garu. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
Did you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi. I have a question. So I downgraded my application in 2020 as an amendment because of my company name changed. So, and I have the EB3 I-1 party approved, and I have the EAD and advance parole in my hand now. So, I requested my company to file under EB2. So now they file under EB2 as an amendment again. And my lawyer told we have to wait 45 days to request the premium processing. And once we get the approval, then only we can interfile. Is that correct way that we are doing?
So yes, generally you do have to wait at least until you get the receipt notice of the amended I-140 before you can try to upgrade. Waiting 45 days, I don't know if that's necessary. That's not really anything from USCIS requiring that time. And they have been much better about getting the old labor certification from the other file and moving it to the new file faster. So you may not have to wait that long, but that might be something that the attorney just does as their firm policy. And beyond that, you know, in the guidance from USCIS, they gave the option when you're having to do a new I-140 filing, that in that I-140 filing, you could have informed them that you had the pending EB2 or EB3 485 and asked them to transfer it to this new filing that you just did. So you wouldn't have to do a second interfiling later. So I'm not sure if they already did that, but if they didn't, you have the option of interfiling to the pending I-140, or you can wait for the approval and then do the interfile request. The only requirement is that the final action date be current on that EB2.
Okay, that's good. So my another question, like since I have the EAD and advance parole approved, and my both of them are expiring in next August, means 2023 August. So can I still renew my EAD and advance parole with the EB3 petition in case if it is not approved?
Technically you can, as long as the EB3 485 remains pending or it's moved to the EB2 through the interfile. So basically, as long as that 485 is pending, you always have the ability to keep renewing the EAD and AP.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
That's great. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you. You too. Let's take a question here, Emily. It says, our relative is traveling to US this week on visiting visa. During 2020 COVID lockdown, because of unavailability of return travel options, we applied for stay extension, did not receive any fingerprint notice during their stay because of the processing times. Will there be any problem at port of entry when they arrive now?
So there's a couple things that are important to know. What was the ultimate outcome? I'm assuming that maybe that B2 extension eventually got denied because they left while it was pending and they didn't appear for the fingerprinting if it was ever actually scheduled. And then the other question would be, at what point did they leave? Was it after their I-94 had already expired? So in that situation, CBP, or the way the law is, it basically says if you file an extension of B2 and you stay while it's pending, but then you leave before you get the approval and your I-94 had expired in between, they could consider your B2 visa stamp to be voided automatically. Now, our actual experience has been that they have not typically enforced that policy, and we've had many people that later traveled back into the U.S. on the same B2 visa with no issues at all. Other people, when they got into the U.S., were told, no, your B2 visa is no longer valid. You need to go for stamping again. And there's no rhyme or reason to it. So probably the best thing to do if you're concerned about that would be to go ahead and apply for a new B2 visa, even though the current one has not expired, just in case they might consider it to be automatically voided. And make sure you have copies of that I-539 receipt notice to show that they did timely file it and didn't overstay.
Got it. That's a great advice. I hope you got your answers. Emily, let's take a caller question here. The caller ending with 3936.
Hi, Emily. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes.
Hello. So hi, I'm calling from New Jersey. We have filed a employment-based petition. My husband is the primary, and myself and 2 kids are the dependents. We filed in the month of September 2021 with Texas Service Center. A month ago, my husband's 485 got transferred to National Benefit Center, but we 3 of us, we are still stuck at Texas Service Center. Is there a way we can do anything about it? Because I have a daughter who is going to be 21 soon, and I don't want her to miss this opportunity because she still did not get her EAD or AP2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are seeing this happen quite a bit where the family members are separated and only some applications are getting transferred and others remain at the other service center. And unfortunately, there's not a way that you can force them to transfer the rest of the family, at least not that we've found. They kind of are doing whatever they want to do based on whatever they think is most efficient. You could try chatting with Emma or calling customer service. You could try the ombudsman, that DHS 7001 form, try your local senator or congressman's office. None of those things are going to hurt anything, but they might not really help in any way because USCIS is just going to transfer cases however they feel like it.
Yeah, and actually my daughter and my husband, they did not get their EAD too. Like I got it and my son got approved because we had our medical healthcare worker thing. My daughter, I mean, she's guilt tripping us like she's losing a lot of good internship opportunities. So I requested the congressman for expedite on it, and it's been 40 days. And it just shows that expedite request is approved, but nothing else. Like, expedite request approved doesn't mean anything. That's what they're saying. Like, there's no time limit or any of that. It's been 40 days.
Right, yeah. Even though they're expediting it, they still take their sweet time even after it's actually been expedited or you've been approved for the expedite. So a lot of times we do see it takes about 2 months for them to approve it in their fast track. So you could probably reach out to the same senator or congressman's office for an update on that, but the expedite really isn't that fast. It's not what you would think. You would think expedite, oh, they approved it, I should get it within a week or two. No, it does take about 2 months even under the expedite.
Oh. Okay. All right. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you so much. Let's take the next caller here. Caller ending with 9955. This is for the caller ending with 9955. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead. We can hear you. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hi, Emily. One quick question. My case actually, I applied EB3 in 2020, and then after in last March, I again refiled in EB2. So when I filed in EB3 last time in 2020, I did not submit the medicals, but in 2022 in March we submitted medicals and along with the family because earlier my family was not with me. Then now that my case got transferred to NDC on 27th April. So
which
all
case?
my all the statuses, EB3 case statuses and EB2, both everything got changed with that status saying that your case has been moved to NBC. That the date is showing 27th April. Okay. After that, on May 20th, I got an RFE for my EB3 485, earlier one, 2020, back in 20, saying that submit the medicals. So now, what is your advice? What to do?
Submit the medical. Yeah, if you don't, they'll deny your EB3 case. Even though you submitted it with the EB2, they're two completely separate cases. So if you want the EB3 case to continue, go ahead and get another medical and get that submitted.
The problem is if I submit the medicals now, my family was not with me, right, in EB3. So they are in EB2 only. So that's where I'm confused now. So if I just submit for myself,
if you don't want the EB3 to be adjudicated and you want just everybody to move forward in EB2, then you should withdraw the EB3. You can do that in response to the RFE because at this point it serves no purpose unless you intend to add your family members to the EB3, but I'm assuming the date's not current, so you can't. So you probably need to consider withdrawing the EB3, which you can do in response to that RFE. But definitely talk to your lawyer about that to make sure I'm not missing any relevant details.
Okay, so we can withdraw it, but is there a way we can just let the field officer know that we have another file in EB2 with all the medicals, everything in place?
Nope.
Oh.
Because then they're going to take them out of your EB2 file and move them to your EB3, and your EB2 is going to sit there. So don't do that. Definitely not.
Okay, so then all that I have to do is just withdraw the EB3, or else I can just wait for the EB2 file to be educated.
Or submit the
Right.
a new medical for your EB3 if you want that case to continue.
But that way I will only be getting the green card, right? My family won't be
Right.
getting.
Correct.
Yeah. I don't want to miss my family. Okay. Okay, all right, then maybe my attorney also says the same thing. She asked me to just like ignore the DB3 RFE for now until that due date, and by the time if I don't get any update on the EB2, then let's see, she says.
Mm. Yeah, you could do that too.
Yeah.
Good luck with your case, sir.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
So let's take the next question here. Question is, it's from Surabhi Verma, wrote letters to the PA. That's thank you so much. And it's, is tourist visa required to go to travel Canada or Mexico for a green card holder?
I am not a Canada or Mexico immigration lawyer, so I am not the best person to answer that question. But you should be able to go to the U.S. Canadian or Mexican consulate, the ones located in the U.S., and find that out, or talk to an attorney there.
Got it. Okay, that's your. So let's take a caller's question here, Emily. Caller ending with 9549. Please go ahead with your question. Caller ending with 9549. If you're muted, please press star 6 to unmute yourself, but you don't seem to be muted. There could be some lag. This is for all the callers. There could be some lag in.
Hello, Emily. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, my 485 filed in October 2020 with EB3 downgrade, and biometrics completed in August 2021. Currently, 485 is at Texas Service Center. So my priority date is October 2040 and expected to be current in next month visa bulletin. So I have kids of 14 years. Can I refile 485 in EB2 with medical to reach my application to NBC to process case fast? Considering we have 3 months.
You have 3 months for what?
Actually, we have 3 months left in year 2022, right? So,
Well, what we do know is if you had filed in early June, USCIS suggests that they would be able to approve it before the end of the fiscal year, but you won't be able to file in June since the date's not current. Maybe if you can file in July, but that may be too late for them to be able to process it in time. We just don't know. We have had some cases that are getting approved in just 3 months, but we have others that are taking more like 6 months. So my guess would be it probably won't be able to adjudicate it by September 30th in this fiscal year. I mean, it would roll over till the next fiscal year.
Okay, okay. And I have one more question. So my H1B extension filed in April month in normal processing. So Vermont Service Center hasn't issued a receipt notice yet. So expecting my priority date to be current in July. So I'm hearing that once priority date is current, so USCIS will issue H1B extension for 1 year?
Yes, but it's based on the time of filing the H-1B extension. So if it was properly receipted in April and the final action date was not current at that time, you should still get 3 years.
Okay, okay, got it. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, and good luck with your question. The next caller here is, I think, 3935. Caller ending with 2935. Please go ahead with your question. There could be some lag if you're watching us on YouTube. Please go ahead with your question as long as you're admitted onto the call. This is for the caller ending with 2935. as we're waiting, we can probably take a question, Emily. Sure. The question is, wrote a letter to the senator. It's from Venkat. Thank you so much. 485 is filed in 10/20. BM applied on 8/21. Priority date is 10/2014 and expect to current in next month. I have a kid age of 14 years. Can I refile I-485 in EB2 to reach my application to NBC to adjudicate the case faster?
Yeah, so I think actually that was the last caller that we just had, same exact facts. So yes, you can refile when the final action date is current, but we don't know whether it would be adjudicated by September 30th, since we're really talking about July filing, which is getting really close to that September date.
Got it. Okay. That's the question. And let's take the next caller. Caller ending with 0853. Please go ahead with your question. You seem to be on mute. Please press *6 to unmute yourself.
Hello. Good evening, Sita and Emily. Am I audible?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Go ahead with your question.
Yeah, hi. Emily, we have filed our 485 in December 2021, and we are done with our biometrics in February 2022. So recently, on May 27th, we received a medical RFE for both my spouse and myself. And one week later, our 485 status got updated to new card is being produced. And I mean, even for 765 as well, both 765 and 485 for both of us. So we are in the process
assuming you did not
getting
respond to the
medicals.
RFE yet.
Yeah, we didn't. We are in the process of getting our medicals. Actually, we included our medicals in the initial filing, but still we received a medical RFE. And 1 week later, the status got changed to new card is being produced.
Okay. Well, it's possible, since you already submitted the medical, that the RFE was issued in error and they realized it and approved the 485. It's also possible that that case status is related to your EAD, and that it also updated on your 485, and it's the EAD card that's being produced. You know, to be on the safe side, I'd probably go ahead and get the medical again and respond to that RFE. And, you know, maybe wait a week or two, see if the status updates any further, see if it gives tracking information that they've actually mailed the card, and wait and see what the card is. And if it's actually your green card, then you can work it out from there to figure out if you need to proceed with this medical or exam or if everything's fine. And they just issued that RFE in error. So you might just want to hold off a little bit and see what happens in the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay, so after 2 weeks, if we actually receive our green cards, right? So still should we raise any service request to make sure that everything is fine? Though we are planning to go ahead and send our medicals, irrespective of whatever it is. And if we are receiving our green cards also in the next 2 weeks, should we still raise any SR to make a service request to make sure like everything is okay and fine with the case?
So yeah, what you could probably do is a Freedom of Information Act request to get a copy of your 485 file to see if the medical exam is in there. And just there'll be all kinds of stamps and officer writing saying case approved, this is the priority date, this is the date, and all of that. So if everything is in there and you see the medical is there, then you probably can just reply back to the RFE saying, we already submitted the medical, you've already approved our green card, therefore we're not submitting it, and take it from there.
Okay. Okay, maybe like we are anyways taking them. Yeah. Thank you so much. But one last thing, have you ever come against this kind of a scenario? I've never heard of anyone.
Yeah,
going through
USCIS has been doing some crazy things. I think they're trying to go so fast, And sometimes they are approving things too early when the date's not current. Sometimes they are approving one family member and not the other. Sometimes they're sending an RFE after they've already approved it. I won't say it happens every single day, but it definitely happens. So it's not too out of the ordinary.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, and good luck with your case. Emily, let's take a question here. It's from Unmesh Kulkarni. Looks like he's written letters to the congressman. Thank you so much. And he has two questions. Post first quarter ending in December 2021, total pending applications were 253K. Does this include just the primary applicant or dependents as well? And the next question
That does include everyone.
That does include
primary
everyone.
plus dependents. Yeah.
Got it. And the next question is, will the process all applications include EB3, or they may just extend the EB2 dates?
I don't expect much movement in EB3, but between now and October, it might move a week based on where the filing date is compared to the final action date. And then coming up in October, I think it depends, number one, on whether they get through all of the cases that they have and don't waste green cards. And it also depends on how much family-based spillover we have from the current year, because consulates still are not operating fully. So we should have some additional green cards again next year, and a portion of those do go to EB3. But generally, the vast majority of anything extra goes to EB2 because they're not used up in EB1, and then they're not used up by the rest of the world in EB2. So they go to the most backlogged country, and then because there's so many people waiting in EB2, there's nothing to spill down to EB3. So the number that go to EB2 is always much greater than the number available in EB3.
Got it. Okay, that's helpful. We have our next caller here, caller ending with 7155. Please go ahead with your question. Please press *6 to unmute yourself. I think you went back on mute.
Hi, are you able to hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, are you able to hear me? Yeah. Thank you. Thanks, Emily, for everything you do to our immigrant community. I have a quick question regarding the H4 EAD. My wife was able to extend her up to 540 days by traveling to Mexico. So my question is, since she got a new I-94, should we interfile her EAD application with the new I-94 again, or is it not mandatory?
It's not necessary to do that. It's not mandatory to do that for the EAD. The main thing is, I'm assuming you also filed an H4 extension along with it. And so you could, if you wanted to, interfile it to the H4 and ask them to update your I-94 to give the new I-94 on the H4 approval, but you don't have to do that. The other thing, you could try to interfile it into your EAD application to let them know that you no longer need to wait for the I-539 to be approved before you can adjudicate this EAD, because you already have the extended H4 I-94. I've not really seen that helping improve the processing time of the EAD in the cases I've done that on. So it's definitely not mandatory, but it can't hurt if you wanted to do that.
Okay. And one last question on that. In worst case, if the EAD application goes to an RFE, and until we respond to the RFE, can they still continue to work for 540 days, or should they stop working?
No, you can still work even if there's an RFE on either the EAD or the H4 extension.
Okay, sure. Thank you so much, and thanks again.
Thank you. Let's take a next YouTube question. Caller question here. It is from 1869. Caller ending with 1869. Can hear you. Go ahead. Looks like you're back on mute.
Hello. Yeah. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I have a question. I have filed my 485 under EB2. I also have got my EB3 EAD and AP for my wife, and she's planning to look for a job in EB3 EAD. So since I have filed under EB2, can I be on under EB2 and my wife can work under EB3 EAD? So will there be an issue in future when we are trying to get a green card? My priority date is 2014 November, basically. So since the date is very closer, so I'm thinking, is it a good idea to wait for the green card to come, or we can proceed further with the EB3 EAD for my wife? And I can be on EB2 EAD green card job.
Yeah, so we don't really have any guidance from USCIS here on whether that EAD is tied to a specific 485 or not, or is it valid just because she has an EAD and has any 485 pending. So basically, the main thing is you have to be in status at the time of filing a 485, and then once it's filed, you can't work without authorization. Well, she has work authorization based on this other EAD card. And so if she were to start working using that EAD card, it would be authorized employment. So there would be nothing that USCIS could say that she's violated anything by working using the EAD card that already exists, because that card stays valid until it's either expires or USCIS revokes it, and they don't generally revoke it in this situation. So I don't see a problem with using that EAD. It doesn't necessarily tie her to EB3 or anything like that. She's simply using a valid employment authorization card to work based on the fact that she has 2 pending 485s. But we don't have guidance from USCIS one way or another on that. That's how I read it, and that's how I think that they would treat that situation.
So in future, if you are trying to switch, let's say our date becomes current, so using EB3 EAD, can she still be under EB2, because I filed her I-485 as well? So can she get a green card under
using
EB2
that EAD,
in future?
right? Using that EAD after filing the EB2 I-485, it doesn't tie her to EB3 in any way. She's just simply using a valid EAD to work. It's not tied to a particular 485. It's not sticking her only in EB3. She still has a 485 pending in EB2 as well, and they can approve that just as they can approve the EB3 case whenever that date becomes current.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day. As we admit the
Thank
next
you. Have a
caller,
good one. Thank you. Bye.
take a question. Thank you. Let's take a question here. The question is, it's from Kishore C. Looks like he's written a letter to the congressman. Thank you so much. The I-485 filed in November 2020, employment history in 485 for Indian employer name seems to have a typo in it. Or will it be an issue, or what is the process to notify USCIS for correction?
If it's just a typo in the company's name where you can still tell it's the same company, I would not worry about it at all. It probably is not going to be an issue. And if they ever raise that issue, it would be in an RFE or during the interview, and you can always correct yourself at that time. But very unlikely if it's just a simple typo in the company's name.
Okay. Seems to be so, though. Thank you so much. Can you please mute your YouTube channel or from wherever you're listening?
Hello? Hello?
Mute yourself, ma'am, please. Can you mute the channel where you're listening to us? Thank you so much for listening in.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm the next caller?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. So can I go ahead with the question?
Yes, please, go ahead. We have Emily here.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Emily. My case is on the straight application EB2. EB2, we applied in April, and my priority date is Jan 2013. We already applied with 485 with medicals, along with medicals. So my biometrics is on next week. So when I can expect my GC by this September 2022? Can I expect? Hello? Hello?
All right. Sorry, looks like I was just disconnected. Hopefully you can hear me now. Yes, so
Yeah.
what USCIS is saying is that if you filed by April 2022 and you submitted the medical
Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to 𝐂𝐓𝐓𝐻𝐸 for achieving SAT score 1570, Farah Khalil 1540, Kunal Varma 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premiere SAT and ACT program. Pay now. Start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ వారి గోల్డ్ ప్రామిస్ తో కురుస్తోంది బంగారు నాణాల వర్షం. గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్ ఆభరణాలు కొనుగోలు చేసి బంగారు నాణాలని ఉచితంగా తప్పకుండా పొందండి. త్వరపడండి, మీ దగ్గరలోని స్టోర్ కి వెళ్లి ప్రత్యేకమైన జ్యువెలరీ కలెక్షన్ ని ప్రత్యేకమైన ధరల్లో పొందండి. కేవలం మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ తో మాత్రమే.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్.
Hire international teachers who are well trained in U.S. curriculum for just $20 an hour, or for 2 students group, $15 an hour. We teach math, science, and English for elementary, middle, and high school. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.
PSAT. Do you have a middle school child? Are you aiming for top Ivy League colleges? Do you know how strong they are in academics? We have an innovative PSAT program for grades 6 through 9. We will help your child thrive in academics and get them to the top 1% of the nation. It's never too early to start. Join our prestigious PSAT program. For more information, contact us. info@testpreppundits.com or 844-383-7844.
Thanks, Emily. Let's welcome back after the break as well, and thanks to all the viewers for tuning in. We have a caller here, caller ending with 7762. Please go ahead with your question. You're back on mute, sir. Please go ahead with your question.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Okay.
Yes.
Hi. Actually, thanks for taking my call. I recently got my GC, but there is a small typo error in my last name. My question is, can I travel outside the country, or I should? I already applied for I-90 form, so I should wait. I should wait for the replacement card before I travel.
Did you send in your original card with the I-90?
No, not it. Just the only form I applied in the online my USCIS account, online account.
And what is the typo?
Last name. It was misspelled. One letter was wrongly misspelled.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're
the swapped the letter.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're okay to travel. At some point, you're probably going to get a request for evidence asking you to send in the original card that has the error. You just need to make sure that you are back in the country and able to do that whenever that RFE comes.
Sure. And I don't need to take any info pass, stamp, whatever in the passport, right?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Just one more small follow-up. I don't get any in India. I'm going to India, so I won't get stopped in India or in the immigration here in US.
You should not be. Carry a copy of your I-90 receipt notice to show that you've submitted that application and you have your green card. But I would not expect there to be a problem with travel.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and good luck with your case. And congratulations for your clean card again. Let's take the next caller here. Caller ending with 52. Caller ending with 5262.
Hey, Emily, can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Can I travel to Mexico when my H1 amendment is still pending?
So when does your current H1 expire?
It has 2 more years. And to give more context, I have my EAD and AP as well. And I recently traveled and came back on EAD AP. But this is a location change, like I'm going out of the MSA and they applied for H1 amendment. So while that is pending, I have my EAD and I have my H1 also, but this is just for amendment petition. And while that is happening, if I travel to Mexico in a cruise and come back, will that cancel my amendment petition?
It doesn't cancel it, and I think technically, yes, you can travel since you still have the underlying H-1B petition approved that has the valid I-94 on it. The difficulty is going to be after you get back, your I-94 number is going to change, and so there's very likely going to happen when you get your amendment approved, it's going to be approved with your old I-94 number, and your last entry has a different number. You can try to interfile your new I-94 to the pending amendment and ask them to update the I-94 to give you the amendment approval with the correct I-94 number. Or you could travel again after you get your amendment approved in order to get another new I-94 number so there's no mismatch. The mismatch generally is not a problem, except sometimes it comes up with driver's license renewals, and if you ever have to go to the Social Security office for anything, it could come up there as well. So it's not a huge problem, but you could consider upgrading the amendment to premium as well to avoid any issues.
Got it. Okay, sounds good. Thank you, Emily, and thank you, Sita Garu. Bye.
So much. Bye. Let's take a caller question, Emily. It's from a caller ending with 5658.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is KP. Hi, Emily.
Hi, KP.
Got 2 questions. The first one, I'm going to give you my scenario. My priority date is March of 2013. I have downgraded from EB2 to EB3, not in October of 2020, like everybody did, but August of 2021 last year, and then got my premium processing done. Everything is done. In March, when the date was current in the filing chart, I applied 485J. My 485J receipt date, I got it on May 11th and was approved on May 27th. So my question, one step between, my application, which was in Texas, 485, has been moved to NBC on 26th of April. Can I assume the next step is 485 approval?
Let's see. So, all right. So you downgraded just the I-140. No, you downgraded later in August 2021, did your interfile. Case has now moved to NBC. You already got your 485J receipt and approval. I'm assuming you submitted the medical already?
Yes, I did, along with the 485 August of last year.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, most likely, unless they find something missing or if there is, a problem with the birth certificate, very minor things like that, they could send an RFE on those issues, but otherwise the next step would generally be approval unless they decide to interview you, and then they would transfer the case to a local office and schedule you for an interview. But most employment-based cases are not being interviewed these days, so it's very possible the next step could be approval.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And the second question is tied to this. So in this whole process, I never got an EAD or AP. I'm the primary applicant. But for my spouse, sometime in March, as she had to travel outside the country, we did request an expedite. My expedite for EAD and AP has been denied, but she got her EAD and AP. she did travel outside the country. She got back in with the AP. Question, was she supposed to get a new I-94 stamped on her passport somewhere? Because she was not. When she showed the AP to the officer said, welcome, and done, 20 seconds.
Okay, so did she go online on the CBP website and there's no new I-94 there?
That is correct. When we go there and look for information, it says no information available.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yes, so they are supposed to issue a new I-94 even when entering on AP. One thing that you could do is email the Deferred Inspection Office for your location. Those emails are online on the CBP website if you look up Deferred Inspection, and they're specifically for I-94 corrections. So you can email them with the flight details or passport information and ask them to update their system to reflect that she entered on this date at this time, through this port of entry using the advanced parole. And they should be able to do that by email.
Absolutely. One more time, what was that? Deferred inspection?
Deferred inspection. If you Google that, you'll come up with a list of all the different locations. Some of the locations will have an email address listed instead of just a phone number. And even though you're not tied to that CBP office, you can still email them and ask them to correct that for you.
Appreciate it. That's it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all the callers also for waiting and getting these. Thanks to you, Emily, for all the service that you're offering. And let's take the next caller here. The caller is ending with
number. And even though you're not tied to that CBP office, you can still email them.
All the callers. There could be some lag in what you're hearing, so please
appreciate it. That's it. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, and thanks to all the callers also for waiting and getting me. Thanks to you, Emily. This is for caller ending with 0288. You're already on the call. You can ask your question. There could be some lag in what you're listening to.
Even though you're not tied to that.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please. Can you go on mute? And there could be some lag, sir, when you're listening to us on YouTube. Just want you to acknowledge that.
Oh, okay.
And you can ask your question.
Yeah. So my 485 is applied in August 2021. I changed my employer in 2020. My new perm is applied, and then by the time my perm is approved, my EB3, my date was current in EB3. So my employer directly applied in EB3. My 140 got approved, and my 485 got applied in August 2021. And then I did not get any EAD or AP. My date was current in February 2022 in EB2. So my employer applied a new EB2 140. And then after I got the receipt, my employer, my attorney interfiled with the receipt number, 140 receipt number, and then interfiled it. But later, after 1 month, we converted my 140 to premium, and then it got denied, stating that the perm is expired.
Oh, the whole I-140 was denied, or the premium was rejected?
No, my 140 got denied because they stated the reason as perm is expired. That's what it's not expired, right? There is no expiry for the perm, right?
Once you filed it in support of the EB3 I-140, that's correct. So it no longer expires at this point. So it's possible maybe they weren't aware that it had already been submitted in support of the EB3 I-140, and so they thought it had expired, or they just didn't look. But you should be able to refile that and explain the situation. That was definitely their error.
Yeah, it's an error, right? So, okay, we are planning to reapply again, like as a fresh EB2 application, 140 again. But what will happen to my already interfiled application? So interfile also will be get cancelled, automatically denied?
So how did you do the interfile?
With the receipt number of 140.
and sent the supplement J to that California address?
Yes, yeah, there is no, like 485J, they did not apply because we did not have the approved 140, right? With the receipt number, we are interfiling. So my attorney said 485J is not needed.
Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't get automatically canceled, but once they do pick it up and look at it, they'll realize there's nothing they can do with it because there's no I-140 to support it. So you'll just have to do the interfiling again once you have the new EB2 taken care of.
Oh, okay. I thought interfile also would get cancelled and then again the old 140, old EB3 140 will be there with the 485. It's not like that?
Yeah, nothing really gets canceled, but when they do finally, because it's two different things happening in two different locations. So you've got your I-140 thing happened over here, your 485 supplement J or the interfiles over here. The right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. So nothing happens automatically, but if they were to actually look at that interfile request, at that point they'd realize there's no I-140 to support it anymore. So they wouldn't be able to proceed with it, and they would just say, we're going to continue this in EB3.
Oh, okay, okay. Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Emily, let's take a few more callers. I think that we can wrap up in the next two callers after this.
Okay.
Yep. Let's take the caller ending with 1334. Caller ending with 1334. Please ask your question. We have with us our expert lawyer in immigration, Emily here. And thank you so much, Emily, for being so patient with answering all the questions. This is the next caller question is 1334. Can you please go ahead with your question? I do not know if you're on mute on your phone. There is a caller who's just joined, a caller ending with 3089. Probably it's your turn now. There could be some lag. This is for all the callers. There could be some lag if you're listening to us on YouTube. As you're admitted into the call, please go ahead with your question. We're here to answer. Can we hear the callers? I see a next caller admitted, caller ending with 7972.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Hi, Emily and Sita. Thanks for taking my call. So I have a situation here. I was downgraded from EB2 to EB3 in October 2020. My EAD and I-140 is approved. Recently, I got promoted and my job title changed, so they started the H-1B process, and now they're trying to file the adjustment of status portability form. So as my priority date become current in EB2 category, so I'm trying to request them to interfile and upgrade my application to EB2. But my lawyer is saying that I would have to wait for 180 days before I can interfile. What are my options here? That's all I'm trying to figure out.
180 days from what? So you're planning on doing the portability first to EB3 and then doing another interfile?
No, so they are saying that they will have to first do the portability and then wait for 180 days and then they can interfile.
Mm-hmm. So there is a 180-day rule. But that rule is if you do the interfile to switch to EB2, then you have to wait 180 days to use portability. You have the opposite issue where you're trying to do portability to change the job. You could turn around and change the job again the next day, and that's fine. There's no 180-day rule in between every single portability. So that's not correct. What is concerning,
let me clarify.
though...
Emily, let me clarify. I'm not switching companies with the same companies, just title change.
Right. That's portability to change your job with respect to the same company, right? Because they're planning on doing they're doing the H-1B amendment due to the change in the job, and they're planning on submitting the supplement J informing immigration that the job has changed. There's no 180-day rule where you have to wait again before you can submit another supplement J. But the problem is, how are they intending to submit the supplement J to move you to EB2 when that EB2 job is no longer available to you because the job has changed? That's what I think there's an issue there. Now, some people have done that. Some people have done it successfully. I would question whether it's even necessary for them to do the portability to change the job within the same employer now. Is it really that much of a change to where it's a material change? Or is it just kind of the natural career progression where they could go ahead and submit the interfile now to EB2 without mentioning anything about the job change because it's simply just the next step in your career? Is an H-1B amendment really necessary? They're only necessary if it's a material change. So I don't know how much has changed about the job, but I would definitely take a second look at that to make sure this job change is not impacting your ability to do EB2.
Yeah, unfortunately, the H-1B amendment has already been done before the date.
They've not done the supplement J yet, correct?
Correct.
So yeah, I would definitely question whether that's necessary and see if you can instead interfile to EB2 now based on the EB2 job that has changed slightly, but that's normal due to normal career progression. If the change is not material, it's not so different, then you should be able to do that instead.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. I will request them that.
Because otherwise you might end up being stuck in EB3.
Yeah,
the way they're wanting to proceed.
Yeah. Right. Okay, thanks for clarifying that. I really appreciate your answer.
You're welcome.
So much. Thank you so much. And we have the last caller. Thank you so much and have a great day. We have the last caller here, Emily, caller ending with 0505. Please go ahead with your question. Caller ending with 0505. I hope you can hear us. If you're on mute, please press *6 to unmute yourself. Caller ending with 0505.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. We can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Radha. I have one quick question. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Please go ahead. We can hear you. You're Miss Radha. Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. I have one quick question regarding my son. So, me and my husband received the green card, and my son was not here in US that time when we received the green card. So, we filed his I-130 application. So, I don't know, means whether his age is locked. So by the time we filed his application, he was 20.5 years old. And
when you filed the I-130?
Yeah.
we filed I-130 last year in September.
Ma'am, can you be a little more louder, please?
Sure. Is it better now?
A lot better. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So we filed his I-130 application last year on September 2021. That time he was 20.5 years old. And we filed in F2A category, but I'm not sure with this filing his age is locked or not.
If the final action date was current in September 2021 when you filed it, which I believe it was, yes, his date would be locked. Well, I take that back. So technically it's not locked until the I-130 is approved, but because you filed the I-130 before he turned 21, they're going to subtract every day that the I-130 has been pending. So even if the I-130 takes 3 years to be approved, that 3 years is going to be subtracted from his age. So he should be considered locked, even though technically he's not yet until the I-130 is approved, but every day that goes by, a day gets subtracted from his age. So it's like he's not aging, if that makes sense.
Okay. Because now he turned 21, so we were just worried if his age is locked and he will be processed still under F2A.
Yeah, it's technically not locked, but they will subtract all the days this I-130 remains pending. So since it was filed before he turned 21 and the final action date has been current that whole time, all that time will be subtracted to where he's technically under 21 at the point when the I-130 gets approved.
Oh, okay. This is great sigh of relief, Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And that's it. Yeah, that's
it.
Thank you for answering my question.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Emilia. That was the last caller. And thank you so much for all your time, all the patience here, and patiently answering all the questions that from our callers. I'm sure all the service that you're offering is very, very helpful to all the immigration community at large.
I'm happy to do it.
Thank you. And so that's the end of the show with our expert lawyer, Emily, from Emily & Newman Law Firm. Thank you so much and have a great rest of the evening, all of you. Signing off.
Test Prep Pundits, a synonym for success, and a home to top 1% scores. Congratulations to 𝐀𝐓𝐓𝐻𝐸 for achieving SAT score 1570, Farah Khalil 1540, Kunal Varma 1510, and many more top 1% scores.
Join our summer premiere SAT and ACT program. Pay now. Start in summer and get 40% discount.
Contact us, info@testpreppundits.com, or call us 844-383-7844. Visit us, www.testpreppundits.com.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ వారి గోల్డ్ ప్రామిస్ తో కురుస్తోంది బంగారు నాణాల వర్షం. గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్ ఆభరణాలు కొనుగోలు చేసి బంగారు నాణాలని ఉచితంగా తప్పకుండా పొందండి. త్వరపడండి. మీ దగ్గరలోని స్టోర్ కి వెళ్లి ప్రత్యేకమైన జ్యువెలరీ కలెక్షన్ ని ప్రత్యేకమైన ధరల్లో పొందండి. కేవలం మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్ తో మాత్రమే.
మలబార్ గోల్డ్ అండ్ డైమండ్స్.
Hire international teachers who are well trained in U.S. curriculum for just $20 an hour. Or for 2 students group, $15 an hour. We teach math, science, and English for elementary, middle, and high school. Contact info@testpreppundits. Call at 844-383-7844.